after I introduce the assignment to everyone, I'll go through and obviously be hanging out here as well. So after I introduce it, while you guys are working on the assignment, I'll still be here in the collaborate session up until 3 o'clock. In case you want to pop back in, or if you want to share your screen, if you have questions. As we get more and more into continually, I don't want to say complicated, as we get into larger scale projects, I'm going to continue to be around. And then also as well for anyone who can't make it for the 1 o'clock session, they can always pop in at the 2 o'clock, but I'll be here from 1 to 3 forever to make sure that you guys get the information that you need. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump on in, and I'm going to be here to help you every step of the way. I'm going to introduce the next project to you. But that being said, before we totally jump in, do me a favor over in the chat room, or you can raise your hand if you want to. How did you guys feel about the last assignment? Did you guys have any complications with it? Anything that seemed overly challenging or difficult? Either in the chat room or raise your hand. Let me know what you feel. What did you feel about the last assignment, so I know how we can kind of curtail those issues, and I can answer those questions for you ahead of time. So what do you guys think? What do you feel? Don't all jump at once now. How about this? I'll do you one better. In the chat room, chat with me using only emojis, so you don't have to type anything. Did you like the last project? Did you dislike the last project? Did you have a hard time with it? Show me only using emojis. How about that? Okay, all right, Rashad, all right. Yeah, you got that. That was good, that was good. Good, excellent, Brian, thank you. Okay, all right. No, no, oh, Kaylee. All right, Kayla, do me a favor. What were you? What stuck out to you as something that you struggled with? Just to kind of like, again, I want to make sure to address any and all questions as I'm introducing our next project. What was something that you felt maybe was a challenge or struggle to you?
Okay, so for me, being like this is my first time ever doing it, I just
Totally.
had a hard time with my actual drawing pad. It was very loose, so like I didn't really know how to use it. So I just like had a hard time trying to get like get into the groove of what I was doing. So
Yes.
kind of looked like scribble scrabble to me.
Okay.
And I was being hard on myself too. So I was also just like I put a lot of pressure on myself to do a really good job so I could get a grade, obviously. So I was like being hard on myself. So I don't think I got to enjoy it as much as I should have.
Totally, totally. I'll totally sympathize and empathize as far as I literally feel your pain. There is not a single thing that I have made art-wise that I don't look at with some level of contempt. I mean, contempt's the only word that I can think of. Some level of contempt where it frustrates me because I see the flaws. I see, every time as I'm working on a painting, whether it's digital or traditional, as I'm working on a project, I'm making these corrections, and I'm saying, oh, I got to fix that, go back and fix that. But I still see the thing that was there before. So even if the final painting is, digital or otherwise, even if the final painting is beautiful and there's not a single flaw in it, I know that there were flaws, and I will always. You're absolutely right. You will always be your harshest critic, always. And I'm not going to lie to you. As a teacher, right? As a teacher, I'm supposed to tell you like, it's okay. You're a unique and amazing you're a star. You're amazing. Hooray! Okay. Teacher hat off. Artist hat on. This is something that as artists we have to live with. It just is. I can't tell you if we were just in a normal classroom, I'd be here to build you up and make you feel unique and awesome and amazing. But the honest truth, and you are. But the honest truth is, as an artist, in your head, outside, you guys are all amazing. True, I've seen your art so far. A lot of you guys have had class before. Truly, you guys are getting better and better every time you keep practicing, every time you continue to evolve, right? So you're doing it outside. But in your head, you will always, until the day you die, you will always think, yeah, I mean, it's nice. I mean, sure, I painted the Mona Lisa, but you see that one hair's out of place, right? Always. But the best part is this: every artist before you feels the exact same way. Every single person in this classroom feels the exact same way, including myself. Um, it's just one of those things that, like, as we become artists, what you can do is take that pressure, take that angst, anxiety, whatever you want to call it, right? Take that, and we can actually harness that fire, and we can use that as propulsion. We can use that as a form of energy to energize ourselves. And here's how you do it. It's really simple. You can do this in your own life, right? A, accept it, right? Just on face value, accept I'm going to be my harshest critic, always. But the second you accept that, the second you admit it, right? When you look at your paintings, when you look at your drawings, you're going to always have that little checkbox in the back of your head of whatever I'm saying, whatever in my head, whatever I'm saying is the worst thing someone could say about this picture, because I'm the worst critic. There are no critics out there who will ever say something worse than myself, right? Which I realize is totally counter logical, right? But just go with me. So if that's the case, if I admit that I'm my own worst critic, then the fear of being judged or critiqued or somebody calling out my flaws no longer exists. I'm my own worst critic. There's not a human in the universe who could say something worse than me, right? Again, it's weird, but go with it, right? Then step two, once you've accepted that you are your own worst critic, once you've kind of gotten into kind of just embracing that, right? Now, when you see those flaws, when your brain is calling out issues and saying, that line's not there, just fix it. You will always see the flaw. It will always be in your brain. I have no way of magically erasing your brain, right? But if you see a flaw, fix it, right? And eventually you will get to the point where you have corrected the flaws enough to the point where the flaws that you're seeing, even you admit, are minute and petty and small. And it's like, well, that one hair's out of place, but is it that big of a deal, you know? And you're going to get to that point. And when you hit that point, the picture is perfect, right? Or nearly perfect, right? There's always going to be a hair out of place. But now you're at nearly perfect, right? And if you can get to nearly perfect in your head, the rest of the universe is going to think you are freaking Da Vinci or Michelangelo or any of the Ninja Turtles. They are really truly going to kind of embrace you, because if you know that you have done your best, then the rest of the world will see it as well. And that's all about taking kind of that fear, which we have, every single person has in our own lives. We're taking that fear, we're embracing it, just accepting it for what it is, and then we're going to flip it on its head. Because if we are our own worst critics, right, then that means the rest of the world doesn't matter, right? Within reason. I mean, they matter, they matter. One last nugget, part 3. If you admit that you're your own worst critic, and thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you guys like the advice. And if you don't, tell me I'm wrong. You're allowed. This is my own personal experience speaking. If you can admit that you're your own worst critic, and you can accept that that means that anything you say is the worst case scenario, because again, it's a good thing to know the worst case scenario, because then you can think of the best case scenario, and it's probably going to be somewhere in the middle, right? It always is, right? Except for the year 2020, that was on the worst case scenario. That was bad. But it's usually, if you know where the worst is, then you can kind of guess where the best is, and it'll be in the middle. But as you guys go along in life, right? Ignore art class for a second. In life, remember that everybody else is doing the exact same thing you're doing. Everyone, right? Artist or no artist. I'll give you an example. You guys, if you've had class with me, you know I like to kind of tell random stories and analogies and all sorts of stuff. My very first day when I went off to college, it was like a college intro day, whatever you call it. I've completely forgotten the actual terminology. Whenever I went for, the first home welcoming, hooray, you're a student, whoop-de-doo. When I went to that, my mother, who's a loving, wonderful person, basically just dropped me off and said, have fun. Everyone else's parents were like walking them hand in hand. My mom's like kicking me out of the car. She's like, thank God I get rid of this guy. So I'm a little nervous, right? I'm a freshman. I've never met anyone. I'm in a totally new area, and I'm walking on into this big auditorium space, and they have all the new freshmen coming in. So it's gonna be thousands of people, and of course, what do I see? A bunch of freshmen walking in with their parents. Everyone's happy-go-lucky, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna be this weird sore thumb, and you start getting in your head right? We all get in our head, right? You start getting in your head and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to stand out, right? Am I wearing the right clothes? Am I doing the right thing? Am I blah, 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 blah? You get the idea. And I walk into this auditorium, and right as I open the door, I mean, like I took a deep breath. Right as I opened the door, I remember that I thought every single person is going to stare at me. I mean, they're all, it's like in the movies, right? Everyone's kind of facing, and you open the door, and it's kind of like, boom, right? They just like stare you down, right? I opened the door. Not a single person even acknowledged that I entered the room. There are hundreds of thousands of people coming in here. No one even bothered to look at me. And as I realized no one even bothered, not even a single person looked at me. No one's judging me, right? As I'm looking around the room, and I'm seeing all sorts of different people, different walks of life, as I'm seeing all these different people, I'm realizing one thing. They are all kind of face down, or they're all kind of like, oh God, right? They're doing this kind of thing, right? Oh man, they're all clenched up. Their body language is all tight. They're oh man, right? They're all nervous, right? And so as I'm walking into this room and I see everybody else is nervous, I realize every single person in this freshman orientation, that was the word. Every single person in this freshman orientation is feeling the exact same way I am. Which means if I'm worried about people judging me, that means they're worried about people judging them. But if you're worried about people judging you, then who's actually doing the judging? No one. There are no judges. We're all so in our brain, right? And so same thing with art. When you're sitting here, you got your stylus, when you're drawing, you are in your head. You are the worst judge for you. And again, the only way to get over that is to accept it. It's true, but that means that no one else is on your case, right? That's where we get tripped up. I am totally the worst critic. Every painting I have hanging, you can't see. I have a house. Hey, welcome. Every painting I have hanging up in my house, some of them you guys have probably seen before. Look, there's a big one back there. Every painting I have hanging in my house, I see flaws in. Every single one of them just is, right? But I know when I see those flaws, I know that I've also seen progression, right? I can see a painting I made 5 years ago, a painting I made 2 years ago, a painting I made last year, and I go, I've gotten better at that one thing. Whatever the thing that bothered me 5 years ago, I've gotten better at it. I still have flaws in my current paintings, but they're different flaws. Those flaws change. And that change means growth. So one big circling back around, here we go. If you ever feel that way, accept it just for what it is, right? Embrace it, right? If you're the worst critic, no one else can be. And then finally realize that hunt, that pursuit for perfection will never result in perfection. As an artist, as a student, as a human, you will never get to 100%, but that is the best thing in the universe that can happen for you. Because if you never get to 100%, that means that at best you could get to like 99.9%, right? You can make a painting that is 99.9%. There isn't a human alive that would think there's something wrong, but you'll always know. But that 0.01% that you'll always know is growth. That's what growth is, right? When you work on this second project, I'm going to introduce it here in a second. I know I'm rambling. When you work on this second project, right, you are going to correct the flaws that you made during the last project. But you'll also introduce new flaws, right? And then to the third project, and you'll correct those flaws, but then you'll get new flaws, and then you'll go on and oh, now we got a pattern, and now okay, you get the idea. I'm making little finger gestures. Okay, cool. That's growth. So you as an artist, you as a human need to embrace that you'll never get to 100%. Because if you get to 100%, pack it up. What's the point? There's no room for growth. You are perfect. The end. But if you can get to 99.9%, there is that 1%, that one little fraction of a percent that is growth. So if you right now are saying, my first project, man, that should be like a 60%. Cool, you got 40% of growth to do. Your next project, man, that stunk. That's like a 70% at best. Cool, you just accomplished 10% in a matter of a week. It's pretty freaking amazing in my book. See, right? Always embrace that missing 1% because that is your growth. And if you try to abolish that, you are getting rid of your opportunity to grow. Embrace the failure, because the failure leads to you becoming a better artist, person, salesman, corporate CEO. I don't know what you're going to go be. I don't know. Whatever you want to be, embrace that 1%. The 1% angers us. It makes us feel bad, but then feel bad, embrace it. Say, okay, all right, I feel bad. That kind of sucked. And now I know exactly what to do better next time. Dig it? Cool. All right. That was, thank you. That was absolutely off the cuff. I totally apologize. Literally, I'm sitting here now. I'm watching, as we're talking, I have my iPad turned on because I'm desperately hoping that my child is asleep. So in case you guys are wondering, there he is. He's got a little camera there. He's passed out. So that's what I'm thinking about. Anyway, all right. All right, here we go. Shake it loose, shake it loose. All right, I'm going to turn this camera off because you guys don't need to see my face anymore. We're going to go ahead and share our screens. Let's make this happen. Let's get into this class project for today, and we're going to do some really good stuff. Here we go. All right. Now, just to prove to you guys that this is completely off the cuff, I don't think any of you guys would take me for a liar. However, I like to really embrace the idea that you can do this at any time. So I don't want you to think for a second that I have anything pre-set up or anything like that. For this demo, I'm going to stick to using Krita. Again, I've found better success with that than GIMP. I know earlier in the semester I suggested GIMP to you, but their recent update is just not that great. So I'm going to use Krita. It's pretty decent program. It's kind of basic, but it'll work. I'm going to open up a new tab here. Here's what I want you guys to do. Over in the chat room, whoever votes first, that's what I'm going to pick. I want you to give me a movie. Any movie right now, off the top of your head, go for it. Movie. First one, Kill Bill. Done. Perfect. All right. Oh, Tenet. Hi, Jordan. Okay, stay after. We got to talk about Tenet. Okay, I got feelings about Tenet. I got feelings because I want to really love it, and I also kind of want to hate it, and I don't know where I'm at. So you stay after class. I feel like some high school teacher. We need to stay after class and talk about Tenet. Okay, you just kind of shook me a little bit. All right, we're gonna go with Kill Bill. All right, so here we go. We're going completely random here. Kill. Whoop. Pull it up. You can see all my YouTube history. A lot of people hang out on social media. I just hang out on YouTube. All right, now here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play the game here. We're gonna I'm just gonna literally flick my wrist over my screen here. Woo, oh, that didn't work. Okay, hang on. Try to make this random. Come on, stupid computer. Woo, okay, wow, that was not nearly as impressive as I was hoping. Okay, let's try again. Woo, okay, there we go. All right. Oh. Let's get, here we go. Okay, we can work. All right. So, completely random, Kill Bill. We're going to go ahead and grab, what was her character's name? Oh, what was her character's name? Shoot. Lucy Liu. What was her character in Kill Bill? Like, Ono something? Amiomo? It's going to bother me. Oh, well. All right. Completely random. I have chosen an image at random. Okay, cool. Now, I'm jumping into Krita. I'm going to go ahead and open that file. And I think, where did I put it? My downloads folder, probably. Oh, downloads folder. What did I call you? Move this thing here. V1. Okay, hang on. Sorry, guys. V1. Oh, and it's not going to let me open it. Why? Oh, my whole fun game here. It's not working. Open. Do something. All right, there we go. Perfect. Okay. All right, so the reason I wanted to purposefully have you guys pick something at random and not Tenet, the reason I wanted to have you guys pick something at random is to, again, prove to you that you can do this with any image, right? Nothing here is preordained. Nothing here is pre-made, right? Now, I am, of course, because I don't want to bore you guys to death, I'm going to totally give you the kind of quick version of this demo. There is a longer version pre-recorded on Blackboard, but I'm going to give you the quick version. So step one, I'm going to go ahead and shrink down my my little paintbrush here. I'm just using the bracket keys. Whether you're using GIMP, Krita, or Photoshop, the bracket keys up by the letter P on your keyboard those bracket keys will kind of auto key to make your mouse or your paintbrush smaller or bigger. I actually have those hotkeyed on my Wacom tablet. So like if you guys have a drawing tablet, you have keys on that drawing tablet, you can hotkey those brackets, and it makes things really easy. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to go ahead and just grab a nice medium gray, and we're going to do a toned canvas here. Okay, we're actually going to tone our canvas. Now, if you've taken a normal painting class, then you have probably toned a canvas before. But in essence, what you're doing, whoops, get out of there. Tone my canvas. Ugh. Wow. Let's try again. Okay. Well, great. Wonderful. Switch over to Krita, and for what? Anyway, okay. Try it again. There's always something, right? Just gonna paint it. Oh, because I have the eraser selected. All right. Way to go, Kozak. Looking good. There we go. Cool. Woo. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so I'm going to tone my canvas. I am literally just dropping in a medium gray tone. Now, if you've had a regular painting class before, you might have toned your canvas with green or brown or really any color, could be gray. But basically all you're doing is taking a white canvas and you're adding something to it, some mid-level kind of value or color. And the reason you do that is that now all of a sudden black and white become valuable. So whereas our last project, we started with black and white, and then we added kind of a medium gray, now we're starting with a medium gray, right? I know it sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but now any black that I paint on and any white that I paint on, if I want to leave a little gap there, then the medium gray is already there. I'm actually making my life a whole lot simpler. Now that doesn't mean that if I paint white and black, it doesn't mean I can't go back and grab my medium gray and add more on top. Of course I can. Oh, go for it. Hello, hello. All good, guys? Okay. If you can't hear me or something, you just let me know. So anyway, that's the reason that we're going to tone our canvas. So we're using the paint bucket, and again, just a medium gray is all we need. Okay, I'm not going to have you dial it into exactly 50%. Just grab a middle gray, you're good to go. Okay. Next, for this project, I do not want you to trace. That's right, you heard that right. I don't want you to trace. So I'm going to grab a kind of a dark gray. So again, if you've ever had like an art class, just for the sake of argument, if you've ever had an art class, you might have done like a gray scale, right? So I have like a dark gray, I have my black, I have my medium gray, which again is already the color of my canvas. I have a light gray, and then I have a white, right? So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 values, right? This is what we're going to work with. This is our palette, right? So we're going to work with these values. I'm going to grab kind of a darker gray. That's going to be kind of my sketch color. The reason I'm not sketching in pure black is then I have to fight that pure black. It's a whole thing. So just kind of go with it. We're going to sketch with this darker gray. If you prefer, you can totally sketch with any color you want to. I prefer the dark gray. That's what I should say. I'm going to make a new layer. If you guys have had class with me before, then you know that I really like layers. Now, here's the deal. I really want to encourage you guys to draw freehand. Totally, right? Like 100%, I want you to sit here and say, okay, her head, and kind of get the form. Wow, this is kind of glitching a little, but kind of get the form of her head and kind of get in here and say, okay, her chin comes down to here. Her eyes are kind of in here somewhere. Her nose kind of in there. Kind of cut that down, and her lips are kind of in here. Wow. Your eyes are kind of here. Like, I want you to go through the whole kind of process of being able to kind of sketch this out. However, I'm also not a monster. So if you want to do the entire process just freehanding, which again, I won't lie, if you feel comfortable, I would really encourage you to do. The pre-recorded lesson that I have on Blackboard walks you through that entire process, okay? However, because I'm not a monster, I still don't want you to trace, right? So when I'm saying trace, I mean this. I want you to sit here and say, okay, her eye is here, her eyelid, okay, there's that, her eyebrow is here. Like, I don't want you to do that, okay? I do not want you to trace in any way. However, basic stuff, right? Okay, so like, let's just kind of get like kind of the outline of her face generically. Again, I'm going to kind of make it scratchy so that you guys see this is not a perfect process. I think I probably should turn the opacity of my paintbrush down, but whatever. Again, just kind of a generic landmarks, right? Her ears about here, you know, her eyes are kind of in here somewhere. Whoops. Kind of get that, like that's about top of her eyelid. Her nose is kind of in here somewhere. And you can see really quick, kind of basic stuff, right? Mouth, okay. Her hairdo here, she's got a part in her hair. Top of her hair is kind of up here somewhere. And again, really, I can't emphasize enough. Do not trace, just kind of throw down the basics, right? Now, when you draw, I do want you to draw the entire image, although in this case, you can obviously crop it. I'm fine if you want to, you know, crop it kind of like this here. So like in our case, maybe I do something like I kind of cut this. Well, I need to look at my mouse or something, or my Wacom tablet's been acting up. So again, really rough. Sound effects help. And then her arm kind of comes up. I'm going to leave the blade out of it because if we're cropping up her arm, it seems silly to have the blade back there. So that's it. So again, really rough, not tracing, right? But you know, some quick little landmarks, right? Now, for the sake of our demo, I'm actually going to take this image, grab it just like so. Oops, come on. Where's my selector? I'm going to take that. Well, not working. Okay. And deselect. There we go. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to, oops, sorry guys. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that in. I'm going to get rid of, I could just crop, I guess, but I'm going to get rid of this angle here. We're going to go ahead and take my move tool and plunk her over here. Okay. Now, in real life, I don't know if you need to do this. You could just open up another window. You could do a lot of things. But for the sake of the demo, I'm going to leave things kind of side by side like this. You are also welcome to kind of save yourself a little bit of hassle. Scale, because we are still painting in grayscale. So I'm more than fine if you want to convert your color image into grayscale, that is fine. And remember that however you choose to do this, right, however you choose to do this is absolutely up to you at the end of the day. I'm just showing you what I consider to be kind of my personal, I guess, favorite method, if that's the right way to go. So just for the sake of argument here, I'm going to go ahead and amp this up a little bit. We'll adjust, oops, not color balance. Let's do, oh, we did that. Let's do our levels. I don't want to auto contrast. Let's do our levels. Kind of crunch this up a little bit. So all I'm doing, if you guys haven't taken like a Photoshop class or something, all I'm doing is basically punching up my image so that it's much, much easier to tell where the shadows and highlights are. So that looks pretty cool to me. Now, keep in mind, I copy and pasted this already, right? So I've kind of got my paste, the color version of her face off on the side already. So I'm going to eventually get rid of this design. I've got my really, really rough face over here. And just like before, we're going to start in the shadows with the biggest brush that I feel comfortable using. And again, very easily, without worrying about details or anything like that. Oops, I'm on the wrong layer. One downfall of using layers is that you can often be on the wrong one. So I'm going to go ahead and paint. I'm just going to get all of this in here and just, I mean, literally you are repeating the last project. That's all you're doing. You are literally repeating the last project, okay? So I can see like the shadow here on her face cuts right to about her eyebrow. So I'm just doing all of these, all of this nice, big, heavy shadow shapes. Look at this, her whole side of her face here is in shadow. I'm not worried about detail. Look, I'm not even staying in the lines, right? I don't want you to. I really don't. Okay. Let's get a smaller brush there. That. Get in there. Okay, bigger brush. Straight down. Kind of follows her cheek here. Back down again. I can see there's some shadow here on her lips. Again, I'm just going to throw down some shadow. Really not worried about if it's perfect or not. This whole side of her nose is all pretty heavily shadowed as well. Really all of her neck, look at that. All of her neck is in shadow. This back part of her kimono. Oops. I got to get that looked at. Something's up with my tablet. It keeps jumping like that. Maybe it's just the streaming. That could be. So, like that. Okay. I'm going to throw a little bit of shadow down here for her eye. Again, really, really rough, right? I'm not like, it's not Mickey Mouse cartoon time. I'm not sitting here like, okay, she gets a pupil, right? Just shadow, right? Blocks of shadow. So your hairdo comes down a little bit more. And then obviously her entire kimono, really overall, is just one big block of black. So we're just going to fill that in as well. Outline her body, her face here a little bit. It's a big hunk of black, and that looks nice, crisp, clean, looking good. I love heavy contrast. It just looks cool to me. Okay. Throw a little bit something down for eyebrows. Right, that's probably pretty good right there. A little bit more on the lips. Okay, and then if I'm going off of this actual background here, which you could not, right? But I'm going off the actual background, looks like the entire bottom half here, or excuse me, top half is all in black as well. I'm just going to fill that all in. We're going to go exactly what the scene from the movie looks like. It's kind of a weird blob thing back here. Okay, all right, cool. Now I'm going to come on over. Now remember that we've previously have toned our canvas, right? There it is. I'm going to go ahead and drag that toned canvas down. Oops. Come on. Come on. That's not annoying. Come on. Okay. All right. Ooh. Kind of back on top. All right. So, not what I wanted. There we go. Oh, ooh, sorry. The lag on this computer is so painful. Streaming and drawing at the same time. Not what it's cracked up to be. So I've already got my mid-tone. It's already on there, right? So now I can go back with my white here and just add in my highlight. Now I could crank up the contrast even more. Again, this is my eye, right? So I'm just going to kind of guess here. You can see her kimono is definitely white. That's for sure. I kind of personally, I see like this area right in here, this whole side of her face, and like this whole bit of her forehead. Like that's what stands out to me. Obviously, she's kind of an overall kind of mid-tone gray. There's not a lot of highlights going on, but I'm the artist and I kind of want to punch it up a little bit. So let's just go ahead and punch it up. Remember, at the end of the day, you are still the artist of this picture. So there's always going to be a little room for artistic interpretation, right? Again, we said we're going to leave the sword out of the picture. Oh, come on. Get in there. Bridge of her nose. Down. See a little right there. The hair under her eyes. A little on her lip right there. She's got very smooth cheekbones here, so we're going to really let our colors kind of do the work for us, or our values, excuse me. Really smooth that out. Just got a little right here, just kind of like a little triangle. I'm going to connect those two shapes. That feels a little heavy to me. I don't know about you guys, that feels a little bit much. So I'm going to grab my mid-tone gray again. We're going to walk it back just a little bit. Something a little less extreme. I think maybe I took it too far. Whoa. All right, that's a little better, I think. Maybe the whites of our eyes could be gray instead. Yeah. So again, all of this is really just getting us to where we were for kind of part one of our lesson. So all of this should feel relatively comfortable to you. Definitely something that you should feel, mostly familiar with. A little bit of the highlights back here on the chopsticks in her hair. All right, cool. Good enough for a demo. Okay. Now that we're at this point, this is when we're going to start really getting into the nitty gritty. This is where having your photo reference off on the side and not moving back and forth constantly is going to be helpful. So I would encourage you, have your photo reference off like in a separate image somewhere, or separate file somewhere. It's really going to help you out. Now, we're going to go ahead and, again, something else you can do is kind of set up a literal palette. So I'm going to go ahead, just on this same layer, I'm going to put down kind of my middle gray, my white, grab my medium gray. Again, I'm kind of picking this darker gray here just at random, and then black, of course, right? So there's my palette. Now you might have noticed that I've got this guy over here. This is my color selector tool. And again, it's got a tooltip of the letter P. And then my brush, of course, is a tooltip of the letter B. So again, if you hotkey P and B, I can grab a color and paint. Grab a color and paint. See that? That's going to speed up your process a whole lot. Okay? So have those tools, hotkeyed, have your fingers on them, whatever you got to do. P and B. Okay. So I've got this going on. So where I've got white entering into gray, I want the mid-tone, right? This kind of light gray. Let me go ahead and paint that on. And really all we're doing is softening these transitions. That's all we're really doing. And again, like I said, definitely reference your image. Looks like I see, look at like right there is where I see like her highlight stopping. So let's take this over. Okay. Just kind of back and forth. I see, look at like this shape underneath her eye. Do you see this shape right here? See that? Let's add that shape in there. Just softening those transitions. And it's still not going to look quite perfect, right? As you get smaller and smaller, as a lot of you guys did, again, obviously I'm kind of rushing for the sake of the demo, but as you get to a smaller and smaller brush, you can make those transitions smoother and smoother. So something you might notice is that I'm not using a really small brush. I'm very clumsily using kind of a bigger brush, right, as I'm going along. And again, I really want to encourage you guys, use the biggest brush that you feel comfortable with. And the reason being is that just like in real painting, when you're, with a canvas or something, having a large Sorry about that, guys. Apparently I was talking to no one as I'm painting. If I'm ever breaking up or anything, I've got the chat room here in the window. I can see you guys. So if I'm breaking up at all, just tell me, let me know. So anyway, just jumping back in here. I know I probably lost you a little bit here, but I'm just using my kind of lighter gray to soften the white into gray. And then I'll do the exact same with my darker gray, going into my really dark gray, or going into black, excuse me. So like here is still kind of her forehead. So you'll see a little bit of this up in here. Let's soften that transition a bit. Really, her whole ear is silhouetted, so I'm not even going to touch that. But kind of the part for her hair. I don't see much back here for like where her hair is. I really don't see a lot going on in these chopsticks either. There's not a lot there. Get her ear. And again, I'm just slowly kind of massaging this into place. Making that transition to black a little bit softer. Just kind of painting right on the edge there. It's not a lot to do with her kimono. Now, as you guys are painting, as you're going along here, you should slowly, again, it's starting to, almost like a photograph, it's starting to kind of develop, right? It's starting to kind of look like something. Definitely nowhere near any level of detail, right? Her eyes still look like, you know, all mushed up looking. But I can slowly get a smaller paintbrush. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to do the eyeball just for the sake of our demo. And again, if I'm breaking up at all, just let me know, guys. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, Jordan. Thank you for letting me know. Come back and watch the rest of this recording or watch the pre-recorded one, okay? Again, I'm just using letter P to hotkey and B to jump back. Kind of tighten that up a little bit. Let's do just her eyeball, okay? So letter P. Again, I'm not gonna do a pure white for her eye. It's definitely not pure white. But I can get in here a little bit. A little space for her tear duct. That already really starting to come into view. See that? Pay attention, I'm not just outlining her eye, right? I'm kind of putting the black down where her mascara would be. She's got a heavy kind of winged eye over here, and then a little hint right by her tear duct, and that's kind of it. Looks like there's a little bit of a shadow right there. Do you see that? A little bit of a shadow. Let's grab a darker gray, or a medium gray in this case. See what we can do there. Kind of nudge that in a little bit more. And then if I push that down, look at this jump between the white and the gray. So we're gonna, again, just kind of slowly nudge that back. So it's really just kind of a softening effect of slowly, like I said, slowly developing your pictures. Gosh. It's a slow process, right? It's hard to do in a 1 hour demo. Right? Starting to come into focus a little bit more. And again, notice I'm still sticking with 4 values. I'm just getting a smaller and smaller brush. I'm still working with shapes to the best of my ability. I really am trying not to use lines. I want to use shapes to bring this picture into focus. Okay, starting to see in there a little bit. So, as you keep going along, as you are kind of muscling through the painting process, and again, even this is not anywhere near finished. I would continually just keep getting a smaller brush and smaller brush and smaller brush and just perfecting and perfecting and perfecting. But you can see how pretty quickly, I mean, this has been 30 real minutes of actual painting. Pretty quickly, I can get something that looks close enough, right? If I get rid of my, where'd it go, my little outline layer, that kind of softens things up a little bit, right? So slowly but surely, keep kind of whittling away, chipping away at this until you are completely finished and you're happy with the design. Now, here's the big kicker. When you are finished with the design, I want you to add color. Okay, I want to add color to this picture. But, and this is why it's important, obviously, anyone who isn't here right now definitely needs to watch this demo. I want you to add color, but we're going to do a different technique. So I'm going to, well, I can't even zoom in. I'm going to make a new layer, right? New layer right there. And you'll notice that the word normal is right here, and it's on every single layer. Normal, 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 normal. This word normal right here, this is a layer, a blending option, or kind of a layer mode, if you want to call it that. This layer mode, or the blending options, basically is going to tell the computer an equation. These words here are all pre-programmed equations, and how they are going to interact with the layers beneath them, right? So for example, multiply will darken anything underneath it, right? But what's cool is I can grab a color, get a really big paintbrush here, grab a color, and I can darken, and look at this. Almost like it's staining the picture. See that? That's with multiply. Let's see what else. We'll grab another one. Divide, what does that do? Ooh, even though I have blue selected, or cyan, looks like it's making this kind of hot pink color, right? So as you're working, as you're using these layer modes, and feel free to explore them a little bit, find one that works. I'm gonna use color. I think that's the one that works best for me. I'm gonna find, let's see here. There's the original picture. I'm just gonna move her on over. Now I could steal actual color right from the photograph itself, right? Or what I would encourage you to do is just kind of find it yourself a little bit, kind of train your eye. It's definitely more in the red zone here, right? Kind of train your eye to find whatever skin tone, whatever colors you're looking for. And then, oops, color, oops, try that again. Make it a layer, set it to full opacity, but I'm changing the layer mode. And now I can kind of paint my black and white image, right? So if you spend the time making your black and white image perfect, like as perfect as possibly can be, my picture is not perfect, right? But if you spend the time doing this, then as you start, blending out and everything with your gray values, you'll have these 5 gray values, and then I just apply color directly on top. Now I really want to encourage you, don't just use one flat color, right? Like I have this one flat kind of reddish skin tone. Look for other colors that are in her skin. I see underneath here, like underneath her eyes over here, she's got a little bit of a darker shadow, but it's kind of like a purpley red. Do you see how that works? Let's change this up a little bit. I'm going to grab kind of like a purpley red color. Make my brush a little smaller. I'm going to paint in some of these here just to kind of soften that up. Kind of neutralize some of those shadows. Use other colors. Don't just stick to, you know, skin tone or tan or beige or, you know, whatever color, you know, browns and all that. Try to mix it up a little bit. Use other funky colors, and it's going to feel weird at first. Like, she clearly doesn't have purple on her face, right? But what I can do is start to manipulate those and really start to play with these colors a little bit, right? And what will end up happening, slowly but surely, what will end up happening is this is going to start to feel more kind of normalized as these colors begin to blend and shade and fade and kind of become their own thing, right? So really diversify up your color usage. I really want you guys to experiment and to find what works best for you, but to pump this thing full of color using layer modes. And again, this is in Photoshop, this is in GIMP, it's all the same. But you switch it from the word normal to any of these other layer modes, and make sure that you're doing it on a separate layer. That's really important. Make sure it's on a separate layer. And then you just go through, like, she's got this red in her kimono back here. Let's get like a really beet red. I'll get up in there a little bit, right? And just slowly but surely, you're going to have something that looks really cool. Okay. Now, obviously, this is pretty rushed. If you want a full version of this demo, again, I've got one pre-recorded on Blackboard for you to watch. But this will kind of get you in the right direction. So there are two big steps to this. You're going to find an image from any movie that you want to. Any movie, you can crop it however you like. You're going to have your 5 values: white, light gray, medium gray, dark gray, black. You're going to tone your canvas. And once you're done with all 5 of those values and you've painted everything, then you're going to make a new layer. You're going to adjust your layers options here, your layer options, and you're going to adjust them. I would suggest that you use color, or there's a couple other ones that are halfway decent. And we're going to pump some color onto this black and white image. So you are going to turn in one single colored image. That is your goal, okay? Now you've got some time to work on this project, so we'll talk again next class, and I'll fill you in with more details and things like that. But just right now, we're going to go ahead and kind of pause on the demo. If you guys have questions, please hang out with me afterwards. I want to make sure you guys feel good and comfortable, and I will make sure to upload this demo to our Blackboard as well, so that you have that as well as the previously recorded demonstration. But if you have questions, hang out with me real quick. Let me answer your questions. I'm going to make sure you feel good. I'm going to be hanging out here until 3 p.m. So if you want to pop back in, if you're working on your project and then something goes off, please hang out with me, talk to me, let me help you, okay? All right, guys. Otherwise, I'll be here hanging out, and if you have questions, just talk to me. That's what we're going to do. All right.